Welcome to Sew with Monty. Today I want to talk about making buttonholes. Sometimes this can be intimidating and a lot of people will avoid garments that actually have buttonholes because they don't want to deal with it. But they're actually very simple to make and require not very much skill, more just process, learning the process, because the machine does all the work for you. So today I've got a sample piece of fabric here. And I've used a sewing gauge, expanding sewing gauge, to determine where I want to put my buttonholes. Now these are really nice to have. They're not necessary, but they are nice to have. The way it works is you decide where you want your first buttonhole and your last buttonhole and how many you want. And then you use the expander to place it, like if I wanted 4 in here, I could place it here. I've chosen 5. So I put it just like that, and I mark the end of every one of my buttonholes. Not only that, the gauge has little marks this way on it, so I can space it evenly from the edge, the finished edge of my garment, and have the same spacing everywhere. This makes your buttonholes very uniform and makes the garment look really polished. If you don't have this, you can use a ruler and find the spacing. And then just mark the same amount. It's about 1 1/4 inches, maybe 1 5/16 inches between each buttonhole. And you can use just a simple ruler. You want to make a small T-mark. It's not necessary that you draw the entire length of whatever buttonhole you need. That's not true. You just need the T-mark. So you can see mine are kind of irregular in length. And that's all I need is a T-mark to make the buttonhole. Now I'm sewing on a Brother. Every computer is a little bit different. But let's get a close-up of the stitch selection here. Right in this section right here, this row, is all the various types of buttonholes, including 29 up here, that I can make. I've chosen a basic 30 to start off with, just to get this sample made. But you can experiment with your buttonholes and see which one you like. The keyholes are really nice on jackets, finished shirts that are a little more embellished. So you can have a choice of different types of buttonholes depending on what you're working on. We're going to select 30. So up here I've got 30 in my window. Now when I put the 30 in, the beauty of this is the machine sort of takes over from here because it's going to give me the proper stitch length and the proper width to make this buttonhole. I don't have to change it. That being said, if I make a buttonhole and I say, well, I like it, but maybe I want to adjust the width a little bit, I can take it down or whatever I need to do. So you can adjust it, but it gives you a suggested setting to start off with. My suggestion to you is try one of these, a sample of these on the fabric you're going to make something in first, to see if you like the look of it. And if you do, then fine. If you want to adjust this, then adjust it before you put it on the final garment. Okay, so there's your selection panel. We've selected the buttonhole. Now, let's talk about the buttonhole foot, this contraption. It's really quite simple to use. At the end of your buttonhole foot, is this little gauge. And this little gauge is how you determine how long to make your button. You don't have to measure anything. You just put the button you've chosen to put on your garment and fit it snugly in this area, and it'll make the proper size for this actual button. Then you just put this buttonhole foot on your machine. Here's your pin, and you're going to stick it right under there and put your foot on it. Grab the pin. There we go. Grab the pin, and you want your threads to come forward here. You want to be able to hold on to them so they don't get gooey in your buttonhole. Now, back here, there's going to be a little lever you pull down. It's right here. And it's going to nestle up against this first bar. And that's going to tell you, it tells the machine how large to make the buttonhole. So the next step is, on the buttonhole itself, I don't know if you can see it, but there's 3 little red lines. We're going to line the buttonhole up so that the little T mark is in line with these 3 lines. Just like that. And once we have that, we simply push the foot. Now I'm going to just have my hand here. I'm not trying to push this thing through. The machine's going to do the work. I've just got my hand here in case something goes awry. And then you just start sewing. And it does all kind of crazy things. Don't let it panic you. It's got to do its own thing. But you just sit and watch the show, and it's really kind of fun. Once you've made a few of these, you want to make more because they're really fun. And it makes the garment look really beautiful when you're done because it's a very polished buttonhole. When you get to the end of the buttonhole, it will slow down, and then it'll go 1, 2, 3, up and down like that in one side. That's how you know you've finished a buttonhole. And then you can move on to the rest of them. See, I can line up again for this next one and carry on from there. And that's the simple way to make a buttonhole.